Adam here with Brooksaw Antiques. Today we have this 1968 Adler Tippa S vintage ultra portable typewriter made in Western Germany. I'm going to show you how to use the functions and make sure they all work. I would say this is one of the best ultra portables ever produced and very nice condition. Up top is the adjustable paper guide. This helps you guide the pages straight. I'm going to line that up with the edge of the platen, which is the main roller that feeds the paper. And this is the paper support arm that flips up from the back. Margins are located behind the carriage here, and you just push them down and move them like that and lock them in place. I'm just going to set them on the edges for maximum clearance. I'm actually going to set this one a little bit closer to the middle so we can hear that bell. There we go. Beautiful bell. And you can slide it through just like most Adlers without having to lift the paper bail because it's so smooth. This is the paper bail with two adjustable rollers and a scale. Most of the time while you're feeding it through with a typewriter, you have to lift it up and then set it back down. But this one, most of the time you don't. With a lot of these Adlers, are just too smooth. And I'm just barely hitting these keys. Once you hear the bell, you're at the end of the margin. Hit this line space, get you back to the beginning, and skips 1 or 2 spaces. Actually got 1.5 and 2. So 1, 1.5, and 2, which is pretty impressive for an ultra portable. Super smooth keys. And as you can see, they all type nice and don't skip or stick. I'm going to type a sentence in red on the next line and switch from black to red. There's a switch on the right side here. If you move it down to that red indicator, it prints the bottom portion of the ribbon. When you have it in the middle, it doesn't print any ink at all. It just leaves a stencil for copying purposes. When you have it up top, it prints the top portion of the ribbon, which is black. We're going to move that down for red. So smooth. And I barely have to hit those keys for them to print. Now, the harder you hit them, you could see on the left with the red, that was a little harder. They're a little darker. And then as you go, I was hitting them less hard and it's not as dark. But with the black print, it all looks really even and nice. Precision. All the keys are very precisely aligned, which is the signature Adler precision and smoothness. And this one holds up really nice. It's very well made, engineered machine. To pull the page out easy, there's a switch on the right side here. You flip it back and it unlocks the rollers underneath the platen, allowing you to pull the page out easier, load thicker paper like carbon copy or cardstock. Make sure you flip that back forward before you load the next page, or else it won't load correctly. We're going to flip this back down and put the color back to black. Shift on each side and a shift lock on the left. To clear that, just hit the shift button again. Just everything about the carriage and the keys, everything is just so smooth. Backspace, very smooth. A little springy, just like, so the space bar and the backspace are a little springy, but they're still smooth. MR stands for margin release. When you get to the end of the margin, there's a mechanism that blocks you from printing. Hit the MR button. So it just lets you get past that block. So if the margin isn't set completely, it might get stuck there, but it works. That's the margin release. Pop the top off from the top like this. There's 2 prongs that just slide into these 2 spacers. All the brand new ribbon is loaded. Well, it was loaded on the left. I've been doing a lot of typing. But it's going to automatically, so it's pulling to the right, but it's going to automatically switch once you use up this side. But if you want to switch it manually, you just flip this little mechanism here and it'll pull counterclockwise. It's got an automatic ribbon reverse, so you don't ever have to really worry about that unless you have an issue with the ribbon. So I'm just going to leave it pulling to the right and it's going to switch back on its own. That's how you do that. This is all hard plastic, by the way. Very lightweight. It's got its pros and its cons. It doesn't rust, but it can break. So it can be pretty fragile, but it's the name of the game when you're dealing with ultra portable, lightweight. Everything else is really high quality metal though. This right here is your right. I think this is the only carriage release on this model. And if you can hear that, it's just so smooth. And that bell sounds so good. On the left side of the carriage, this lever up here, if you flip it back, it disables the spacing so you can get to an exact spot on the page. You flip it forward, you get the clicks. Each one of those clicks is a half a space, and that's it. Now available on eBay or Etsy. Search Brooksaw Antiques.